Hello, and welcome to another vlog. I recently watched season 2 of Atypical on Netflix, and I really enjoyed it. For anyone who hasn't seen the series, I highly recommend it. This week's theme is arthritis, so I thought I'd spend the duration of today's video talking a little bit about the different types of arthritis and some common treatments. Now, since I don't have arthritis and I don't really know anyone who does, I had to do a lot of research for this week's video, and I found a lot of information. And one of the things that I found out is that arthritis is basically a fancy term for inflammation of the joints. And there's several different types. The first is called osteoarthritis. Now, osteoarthritis is probably a condition that you've heard people talk about quite often, and it mainly affects women and seniors. Now, a lot of people think that osteoarthritis is caused by day-to-day wear and tear in the joints, but what it's actually caused by is failed repairs to the joints, and that's what causes the inflammation of the joints. And the reason why osteoarthritis is so common in older people is because it can develop over time. The next type of arthritis is called rheumatoid arthritis, and this is another condition that you've probably heard people talk about quite often. I know I certainly have. And rheumatoid arthritis is actually considered an autoimmune disorder. So basically what that means is that the body's immune system attacks the joints, and that's what causes the inflammation of the joints in people with rheumatoid arthritis. But unlike osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis can affect anyone at any age. Then there's infectious arthritis, and as the name suggests, infectious arthritis is caused by some form of an infection. So it can either be a bacterial, viral, or fungal infection which attacks the joints. And that's what causes the inflammation in people with this kind of arthritis. And finally, there's metabolic arthritis. Now, metabolic arthritis is caused by high levels of uric acid, which is a byproduct of your metabolism. And that's the reason why it's called metabolic arthritis, is because it's the result of an irregular metabolism. And again, unlike osteoarthritis, both infectious arthritis and metabolic arthritis can affect anyone at any age. And that's the reason why it's so important that they're properly treated, because if arthritis isn't treated properly, it can very quickly become very painful and very debilitating. And there's quite a few different types of treatments that people with arthritis might receive. It all depends on the type of arthritis that they have, as well as the type and severity of symptoms that they're experiencing. Now, as with a lot of other conditions that we've talked about on this series, the main form of treatment for people with arthritis is medication. And there's quite a few different types of medication that people with arthritis may be prescribed, again, depending on their specific needs. Some common ones are anti-inflammatories and corticosteroids, and then there's a long list of other drugs that people with arthritis may be prescribed depending on what their symptoms are. And, oftentimes these drugs can be very helpful, but, sometimes they're not quite as helpful as what people might hope. And that's when different therapies such as physiotherapy and things like that come into play. Now, when it comes to arthritis, the intention with physiotherapy is to exercise the joints in hopes of strengthening them and helping that individual regain some of the mobility that they may have lost, but also to alleviate some of the pain and discomfort that they may be experiencing. But physiotherapy isn't the only form of therapy that people with arthritis could receive. Last week, for example, we talked about massage therapy and how that can help alleviate symptoms of a wide variety of health conditions. And arthritis is no exception to this. People with arthritis may benefit from massage therapy, as it could help to eliminate some of the pain and discomfort that they may be experiencing. Of course, as is often the case, medication and physiotherapy don't always work. They normally do, which is the reason why those are the main treatments that are chosen, but sometimes they don't. And that's when other treatments such as surgery come into play. And as with a lot of other conditions, when it comes to arthritis, surgery is typically a last resort. They're not going to perform surgery on someone with arthritis unless they absolutely have to. So, for example, if some of the other treatments that we just mentioned aren't working for them. And if someone with arthritis does get surgery, there's a number of different types of procedures that they might go through depending on what their specific needs are. So, the main type of surgery that they might get is joint repair, in which they'll try and smooth out or realign the joints to help return some of that functionality that the individual may have lost. But in some cases, the joints are beyond repair and they need to be replaced with artificial ones, so then they'll do a joint replacement. And in rare cases, they'll do joint fusing, so they'll fuse joints together. Now, they typically only do this with smaller joints, particularly in the wrists and the ankles, and like I said, it's a less common procedure, but it is sometimes done. So that's just a brief overview of some of the treatments that people with arthritis may receive. And again, the type of treatment that an individual with arthritis receives is going to depend heavily on the type of arthritis that they have. Now, I'm going to be releasing a video on Thursday, which I talk a lot more about what arthritis is. So subscribe if you want to see that video. And if you want to see more videos like this one, then please support me on Patreon. Like I said last week, supporting me on Patreon is a great way to help me not only make more videos, but also better videos. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you next week.